السلام الملكي.
In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most gracious, Your Excellencies, Your Highness, our guests, and our followers online. Peace be on you. Towards more of building and enablement in capabilities and human potential. The Human Capital Development Program launched by His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdulaziz, the Crown Prince, Deputy Prime Minister, head of the Human Capital Development Program, to be a main supporter of local competitiveness and international competitiveness by developing the basic capabilities and skills and the future skills, and developing knowledge and providing the opportunities for lifelong learning and supporting the culture of innovation and entrepreneurship. The Human Capital Development Program is one of the Vision 2030 enablement programs, paving the way for a future of great promises for the citizens of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, our dear guests. For further details on this program and what it offers, it is our great pleasure to start this panel session with our distinguished guests, His Excellency Engineer Ahmed bin Sulaiman Al-Rajhi, Minister of Human Resources and Social Development. His Excellency Dr. Hamad bin Mohammed Al-Sheikh, the Minister of Education. His Excellency Mr. Bandar bin Ibrahim Al-Khorayef, the Minister of Industry and Mineral Resources. His Excellency Dr. Khalid bin Abdullah Al-Sabti, Head of the TVTC. Dr. Ahmed bin Fahd Al-Fuhaid, the Governor of the TVTC, Technical and Vocational Learning. The panel discussion will be led by Dr. Enas bin Sulaiman Al-Issa. The session starts after this presentation. And because we are in an ambitious nation, since the foundation, our march in building human capabilities continues. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most gracious, Your Highness, Your Excellencies, our dear guests, and our viewers and listeners, good evening, everyone. We witnessed 2 weeks ago the launching by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince the Human Capabilities Development Program, and it is not strange the wise kingdom's interest in human capacity development. Luckily, holding this panel discussion comes in line with the celebrations of our nation of our 91st National Day, the day of unification of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia by the founding King Abdulaziz. Happy National Day to Saudi Arabia and the Saudi custodian of the two holy mosques and His Royal Highness the Crown Prince. Our dear guests, a highly competitive citizen is the main title of the Human Capability Development Program, one of the Vision 2030 vision programs. The program that transmits the competition, the global competitiveness from being a dream into implementation. It is a total strategy to develop the human capacities and capabilities, starting from the KG, going to the public schools, KG to 12, technical and vocational learning, then going into the labor market up to after the retirement. This strategy is implemented by so many stakeholders in the government in partnership with the private sector and the non-government and non-profit sector by implementing 89 initiatives, fulfilling a cohesive effort to prepare the humans' capacities for the labor market and to make sure that we are fully prepared for the future to adapt with the future changes. Let us know further about the program and put the most important questions to be answered by our guests who are the members of the program. Welcome, dear guests. And I would like to put the first question to His Excellency the Minister of Education, Dr. Hamad. Your Excellency, could you tell us, please, where does the journey of human capability development start? Thank you, Your Excellency, for the question, and I would like to express my gratitude to the custodian of the two holy mosques, may Allah protect him, and to His Royal Highness the Crown Prince for the approval of this program, which is based and founded on the citizen. And to answer this question, let me highlight the three pillars or foundations of this program. These are, the first one, of course, is the development of a resilient and strong foundation for everyone in the human capability development. The second pillar is preparing the citizen for a labor market where they are competitive locally and internationally. And the third pillar is allowing the opportunities of learning, continuous learning, lifelong learning for every citizen. These three pillars or foundations, and let me highlight further the first pillar that relates to the establishment or foundation of a system, of a resilient and flexible and strong system for all. It is based, as we said, on the citizen. Our care for the citizen is not only related to the K-12, but also starts from the kindergarten stage. Kindergarten stage is seen as a key pillar in providing a strong system of education in Saudi Arabia. And as you know, education at early stages is extremely effective and impactful. Children who start their studies in KG improve their skills and learning aptitude later on. Our target in the program is to increase the percentage to 40% of students joining kindergarten to up to 90% by 2030. Therefore, we are building the citizen from the early childhood years and sustaining that building up to from early childhood to adolescence to youth, The initiatives of the program were sprinkled on these three pillars in order to cover all the stages of growth and development of the citizens. Also, it enables early kindergarten education, allows all different developments later on, if they were started at that early stage. And then the student will have the ability to respond with the development programs and the changing plans, and also the changing of subjects and the learning focus, either in elementary school or in middle school. The program also focuses on a journey, a learning journey that aims to establish the skills in preparation for the future, not only knowledge-based. Here, we start the direction of students and guidance at an early stage before the end of high school. It starts earlier on, but there is also at the secondary school, where we start to guide the students and advise them into the most convenient tracks that are in line with their capabilities, skills, and dreams. These came in order to diversify the secondary school, so that it's not only a preparation for college, but also a preparation for life after the secondary school or high school, and also preparation in order to be prepared to enter programs in preparation for the labor market, in a development journey that is not necessarily a long journey, but the program also focuses on the process of the acceleration of students' educational journey, so they can somehow shorten it from 12 to less than 12 years. And also at university level, there will also be the possibility of acceleration to graduate with vocational or academic degrees that are required by the labor market and by the requirements of the skills of the 21st century. Thank you, Your Excellency. Talking about the labor market, I would like to ask Mr. Al-Rajhi, how will the program upskill the Saudi citizens' skills and prepare them for competitiveness in the local and global markets? Please, Your Excellency. Thank you. In the name of Allah, most merciful, most gracious, and I would like first to thank the organizers of this panel discussion to talk and explain this human capability development program, which, as you have also referred to, the aim of which is to prepare a competitive citizen locally and internationally. There is no doubt that the program is a key foundation and requirement by the labor market. It will greatly enhance the competitiveness of the labor market. For the extreme importance of this program in the Vision 2030, His Royal Highness the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman headed this program, and this is because of his personal perception of the importance of the human capability and development. In a meeting with His Excellency, His Royal Highness, when he was asked what are the most important treasures of this nation, he said the Saudi citizens. So thank God we have a leadership that has full potential, full belief in the potential of Saudi citizens. As for Your Highness question, Your Excellency's question, the program deals with numerous pillars that support the labor market, starting from preparing the youth for the labor market. Today, our labor market in the current day, we believe that it is different from the labor market in the future. The Kingdom's Vision 2030 speaks about a new economy, speaks about new promising sectors, and therefore the program aims to prepare our youth for this in local and the future labor market. Among the foundations and interests of the program is training our youth who are on the job. Like we believe like we are a little bit lagging behind, and we believe that on the job training doesn't take place effectively. We are in extreme demand to train our youth and the elderly people as well. Therefore, the other key pillar is training citizens, those who are on the job, or if they have 10 or 20 years of experience, they still need to cope with the international and global changes. And we have to continue and sustain this personal development, and that's a key pillar. Also, in relation to those who graduated from colleges or schools and have great potential, however, they were not able to be, or what we call them as the reskilling or the upskilling. This kind of potential needs, in the early stages, for a development and requalification to allow them to be part of the labor market productively, of course. It focuses also, the program, on something important, which is qualifying youth when they are studying through the co-op programs in partnership with the private sector, or through part-time jobs in summer or in the evenings. All develop the culture of work for our youth while they are still students. So by the time they finish and they graduate from school or college, and then we know that those who have worked part-time, we know about their performance and their readiness for the labor market more, which was higher than those who didn't practice part-time job. Also, the way that students select their tracks. I don't believe, like anybody here who hasn't faced that challenge, how can I change? How can I select my academic track, or what is needed by the labor market, or that suits my skills and capabilities and potential? The program covered this need through the supervision, how to select the right track which suits my skills, and at the same time select something that is required by the labor market so I can be a productive citizen. The program didn't ignore the fresh graduates who graduate and need specific skills that they have probably did not receive them through free training vouchers to receive training and prepare them to enter the labor market. Finally, and I'm sorry if I know that you stopped the timer, but finally, the role models. We believe, and this program believes, and His Royal Highness the Crown Prince hopes, that we don't only think of a job, but to think how to be an entrepreneur. How that we see the role models. We see, for example, here with us and also in other places, young entrepreneurs who started small businesses, and now the value of these projects is in hundreds of millions. They've started from scratch. Those role models of entrepreneurs, this program aims to instill this concept that as you are looking for a job, do not forget to look for an opportunity to build your own business, so that instead of looking for a job, you become an employer and provide others with. This is what the program participate with. Thank you. And also, speaking about the changing labor market, we know that industry and mineral resources are a priority and a key motivator of developing the needs of the labor market. My question to His Excellency Al-Khorayef: how will this program develop the needs and the requirements of the industrial sector in general? Thank you, Your Excellency. First, I congratulate our nation this program, and I am very proud to be a member of the program. I'm going to speak now from the students' perspective regarding the outcomes of the program. The sector of industry and mineral resources is one of the key sectors which we build so much on in the development. These sectors are no doubt have specific requirements which are always renewed, and they are all ever changing based on the changes and growth of development in technology, the global markets, the products they deal with, especially in industry or mining. Therefore, the program comes as an answer and to find the skills and the human potential who will be successful in pushing this sector forward, moving it towards its objectives in 2030 and beyond. And our work today is very different from what we expect. We all know that many of the projects and the work that we see today, upon which so many capabilities were developed, are going to end, and new tasks, new technologies will be there. So we have to be prepared for that time. We should have human capability that can replace or that can take these jobs. Our development of the future industrial sector is based on a strong industrial sector that adapts the modern technology, the latest scientific entrepreneurial inventions. Therefore, we will change the nature of this sector, which we have built over the past 4 or 5 decades, into a new industrial sector that relies heavily on skills and less on the cheap labor, cheap unskilled labor. This foundation is important. Therefore, the learning outcomes or the outcomes of the human capability development will be key, cornerstone. Also, the industrial sector and the mining sectors are in continuous change in terms of the technologies applied, or in terms of the, for example, 3D printing or AI. Therefore, the nature of the work that we have in the industry and the work models and the volume of investments are going to change. The classical big industrial sector will continue, and it needs new skills. However, there are greater opportunities, as of course mentioned by my brother, the engineer Ahmed Al-Rajhi, that there is a great potential for entrepreneurship in the industrial sector, because the nature of future work in these sectors is going to tremendously change. And we are laying now the cornerstones, the foundations here in the industrial and mining sectors, that these sectors are fully prepared and ready to open big opportunities for our youth that match their capabilities and also our aspirations, that these employment opportunities are in high value sectors, sustainable, that can help develop other sectors sustainably. Thank you. Also talking about the changing of the labor market and the renewed industrial sector that requires skills. My question now to Mr. Ahmed Al-Fuhaid. How will the program in building these skills, these technical and vocational skills, advanced vocational skills, what are your priorities and what are the methodologies of the program? Thank you so much, and I'm so happy to be with you here tonight. No doubt, talking about skills, and the program covered all these skills perfectly well. We know that we are in a big race with other countries in the area, in the arena of skills. When I talk about the skill, we talk about 3 things: the future skills, we talk about competitiveness, and we talk also about, in fact, the fifth generation 5G, the fourth industrial revolution. We can talk about the program that covered comparing the kingdom with other countries. Probably in the G20, and we are a member of the G20, those who follow the vocational training are about 40%. And the OECD, it's bigger than that. We are still somehow behind. Therefore, the program focused there to enhance the participation or engagement in this training, and also enhancing the capacity of admission in the vocational training to be also enhanced with sustainability. On the other hand, which is the quality is wise, not quantity wise, we know that in fact there are numerous areas that have been opened. The kingdom is a huge area that has for example, some are spent in tourism, in agriculture, or in energy. Therefore, the program in this aspect will offer numerous initiatives. I can mention some of these. in relation to engagement of the private sector to be a real partner, not only in employment, but also in the design, in the planning, in the execution and supervision of training programs, and also in terms of employment. And this is extremely important, and we will work together with all the sectors, so in all the regions, to fulfill that. Also, from the other perspective, on the other hand, we will not have only a student or trainer who spends his time inside the college or the school. This is going to change. There will be the vocational programs where the student will enrich his experience by spending time in different areas, executing and putting into practice what he learns. Finally, that relates to the competitiveness. There's going to be student exchange programs at an international level. We're going to receive international students in our colleges and institutes, and also our students will also be traveling abroad. This will enhance the competitiveness and make our learning outcomes of highest quality. Thank you so much. We talk about skills, and skill upskilling. So let us pause here for a moment and give a question to Dr. Khalid Al-Sabti. Have we designed or have we defined what are the skills or the target skills? And do we have a way of measuring those skills and drawing the roadmap? Thank you, Dr. Enas. The world is facing numerous opportunities and challenges, and also to succeed in this world, we have to provide our youth with the necessary skills to face the fast-changing labor market and enhance their competitiveness locally and internationally. This is what the initiative of the National Framework for Development and the Future Skills, together with the other initiatives, we are seeking to overcome these challenges and turning them into opportunities, and also finding new opportunities in order to create a highly and international competitive generation. This will greatly participate in what His Royal Highness the Crown Prince spoke about in his recent interview, that we have to put less interest on knowledge to the minimum and focus more on the skills. The first initiative is the National Framework of Skills, where we lay the foundations to identify the skills and define the skills in a way that is in line with international standards, also naming the labor market's required skills in the different sectors. We will also develop measurements to measure the skills in individuals and develop a system to approve those skills. The other initiative to cope with the fast-changing world, we are going to read the requirements of the future in terms of skills and identify the expected in the short and medium and long-term skills for the labor market. We will identify the gaps. We will try to do preemptive measures to solve these problems, and upon which we will build a national program for lifelong learning based on the study of the future. These initiatives have great benefits, most important of which is, for example, number one, we will identify the required skills for the sector jobs and also the training programs that are needed. Two, we will also define the required skills for individuals and also opening the opportunity for them to identify their strengths and weaknesses in the various skills. Three, we will define the gap between the required skills in the various jobs and the acquired skills by individuals, and the possibility of upskilling the individuals in order to achieve the requirements, the well-defined objectives. Four, we will enable the government agencies and private agencies as well to reach to individuals who have the required individuals in the open jobs, and this will also allow the competitiveness locally and internationally to grow further. Let me return again to international competitiveness and highlight the Crown Prince's quotation that we want 2 universities to be among the top 100 universities. My question to the Minister of Education: how will the program achieve this ambitious target, and where we are now? First, let me start to clarify what are the key goals in terms of the classification, and to have 6 universities ranked as top 200 universities and 9 to top 200 universities by 2030, in addition to having 2 universities ranking as the top 100 universities in the global classifications. The international classifications are important because they compare our universities with international universities, either in terms of scientific research and also in teaching. These ranking focuses also on scientific research and the diversification in the faculty members. So the program pays great attention that there should be real partnership with the private sector in programs of R&D programs, so that they focus on and direct the national priority of economic added value, either in terms of research and development, in patent, and so that there is a real partnership. The program will also fulfill the target through evaluating or assessing the universities based on the speed of employment for their graduates, which makes the universities also revise all their programs, all their plans based on the requirements or the renewed requirements for labors and the 21st century skills, and will also focus in their programs on the degrees or vocational degrees in addition to the academic degrees. At the end of the day, there has to be for these universities an international diversification in terms of their faculty members, the researchers, so that it gives the international dimension, and also for in the student body. There's an initiative for the student visa to attract best students to our universities from abroad, so that they can be pioneering universities. Thank you so much. This is a key pillar in this program, which is the harmonization between the requirements of the labor market and the learning outcomes or the university outcomes. And you referred to this quickly, but because this is an important question for everyone, could you focus a little bit in your question on what are the mechanisms or the strategies to link the learning outcomes with the requirements of the labor market? Well, of course, this is a key issue, and the program carefully looked at supply and demand and developed numerous initiatives that will deal with the problem of supply and demand. This is not, of course, a local issue. In the G20 sessions, most of the G20 are suffering from this supply and demand. So this is not only peculiar to our context. The program mainly focused on numerous initiatives on how to address the universities' problems with the labor market, and also the problems of the labor market with universities. One of the key programs is the supply and demand unit, which is one of the key initiatives in the program and I'm sure that all the universities and institutes are trying to answer this million-dollar question: how can I know what the labor market needs? Therefore, this unit is going to study and make forecasting the economy, the requirements of the labor market, the new sectors that have been created in the kingdom, and try to provide feedback to the educational sector. So this is a key important initiative in order to align the requirements of the labor market with the learning outcomes. Among the important initiatives as well is the skills incubator, We know, for example, no matter how we work hard to collaborate the requirements of the labor market with the learning outcomes, that because of the dynamism, of course, somebody might select a track that after 5 years becomes obsolete, for example, like mentioned by my brother Al-Khorayef. Probably the entire job in itself becomes is rendered to automation. So as we speak about professions that have vanished, so those who graduate from these tracks, then the incubator will help reskilling the youth so that they are again refreshed and they can return back to the labor market. Also, in relation to the guidance and advising, part of this program is how the experts in the different sectors can help the fresh graduates and the entry-level employees by coaching through volunteering. So this initiative helps, and part of it is considered as corporate social responsibility, to harmonize the learning outcomes or bridging the gap between the schools, universities, and the labor market. Finally, I also would like to highlight what I mentioned, which is the professional advising that helps our youth while they are studying to select the right tracks that are required by the labor market. And there is also another initiative within this program in order to enhance. And I know that some programs are there. However, they need to be enhanced. They need to be pushed forward in order to be launched properly and effectively, so that the beneficiaries will find someone who can advise them on what they should select. And not less important than that is the requirement of the market and the market needs. Thank you, Your Excellency. And like to ask Dr. Bandar, I would like to ask him maybe the toughest question. What are the features of the internationally competitive citizen? We talk about an internationally competitive citizen. So who is that citizen? What are his features? Thank you so much, and thanks for giving me this tough question. First, I would like to speak about our present day. When we look at the different sectors that we have, and then we look at our experience here, we find that there is a key experience competitive globally. For example, when we take companies like Aramco, SABIC, and then we compare them with like companies globally, we find that these companies have proven themselves to be globally in potential competitiveness. The skills of their human capital enabled them. But how can we copy that also to the entire economy, to all the small, medium, and big sectors? And it is not only restricted to these one or two mega companies. This will stem from our abilities and from our and also from our ability to read the future. Also, what will the labor market require? And I mentioned probably in my first answer about the nature of employment or jobs. The future skills are going to be mostly based on creative thinking, on design thinking, on lifelong learning, and the ability to communicate with very complex systems. When we look, for example, at global companies, how they have branches everywhere in the world and the ability to communicate at no time and to work in these complex systems, this is going to be a key. Creative thinking, of course, innovation always be present, because most of the projects or works will be automated. Therefore, these skills are extremely important. Now, the program appreciates these challenges and knows that these skills are important to be instilled and fostered. And as mentioned by Dr. Hamad, that is going to be at early stages, starting from kindergarten, because creative thinking and communication skills are among the skills that we can start at very early stages in education. And this is going to enable us to prepare for the future. Today, for example, among the what we can be proud of in our industrial and mining sector is the industrial fund. that had a key role in training and qualifying national youth who are now in key positions. So we have strong foundations, we have rich experience in different sectors where we have great efficiency, and also our ability to read the future and its requirements. I'm very optimistic, in fact, because in the industrial sector and mining, the human resources which is going to work there is going to be among the key factors of success. Thank you. That was a very academic reply that requires a PhD. Now let's get back to talk about skills and values and what we will achieve in the program. They say that what we cannot measure, we cannot fulfill. My question to Dr. Al-Sabti: how will the program measure the entire system, the quality of performance and the quality of programs and initiatives? Thank you so much. It's a key question. In fact, in the past and internationally, the challenge was providing education. And numerous countries, including Saudi Arabia, we overcame that. Now we're talking about the quality of the learning outcomes and the harmonization with the labor market, as mentioned by Mr. Ahmed Al-Rajhi. This is a G20 problem. The program works on achieving or developing high outcomes, and at the same time the program tries to measure the quality and to what extent it matches the requirements of the labor market. In terms of vocational training, there's an important initiative to have a national classification for the higher education and technical and vocational learning institutions. We will measure the performance based on various criteria, such as the quality of learning outcomes and also the employment indices. So universities and training centers are going to be classified based on that. The aim is to incentivize universities to be more competitive, to improve their outcomes, and also to take in perspective the visions of the parents, the students, and the community as well, to evaluate the educational institutions. This is in terms of ranking. In terms of academic, there's an important accreditation, either institutional accreditation or program accreditation, so that we can give accreditation to all the institutions at higher education before 2025, including the academic programs, and also the training, give accreditation to training and vocational to institutions to up to 25 to 50%. In K-12 education, we have to measure the performance of international, local, and private universities based on specific criteria and classify them based on KPIs and measure the K-12 learning outcomes through national tests in specific areas such as math, science, and Arabic language in certain grades, and this is going to be done annually to measure the performance level locally, regionally, and also at the level of the schools themselves. We will also go into international tests to measure ourselves and compare ourselves globally, and then determine the competitiveness of the Saudi student globally. Finally, we will implement the gamification methodologies, which are new methodologies that allow every part in the education and training to compare themselves with their peers, which will incentivize the stakeholders to improve continuously and also incentivize the entire system to become a dynamic and responsive system. Speaking about global competitiveness of students, the map of the human development speaks about moving from focusing on degrees to skills. So my question to Dr. Ahmed Al-Faid: how will the program strike a balance between skills and degrees? Thank you, Your Excellency, and I believe there is, of course, a big change, either socially or in terms of training and skills. And let me start by saying that some countries have moved from employment based on degrees to employment based on skills, and started that. This in government sector, but also in the private sector. I believe this is taken for granted. The private sector determine their needs based on the skills of the applicants more than looking at their degrees. Of course, in the program, this is covered thoroughly. There will be professional degrees that will play a role. These degrees are built in the business sector, and they will have a great role in improving and polishing the skills of our citizens to become internationally competitive. On the other hand, there is going to be the development of programs at different levels. Previously, we designed the programs for any field to be for 4 or 3 years. But now this is not logical, because some jobs require skills with shorter or sometimes longer periods. Therefore, there will be a revision of the training and the educational programs based on the requirements of the business sector, as mentioned by Dr. Khalid Al-Sabti in relation to the National Framework for Skills. There's going to be high coordination with that program there. Therefore, in the future, I expect there's going to be great competitiveness for the degrees based on this national framework that satisfy the requirements of the labor market. And now the biggest employer is the private sector, that is interested more in the skills than the degrees. Thank you. I think we're running a bit short of time, and probably, but I would like to ask the most common, frequently asked questions. Dr. Hamad, many are asking about lifelong learning. What does the program mean by lifelong learning? Does that mean like you can open up the age requirements for joining universities? Thank you, Excellency. Lifelong learning is among the from school years up to the years when employment, or if there were any gaps in the employment history. So the learning should be available to everybody according and based on the initiatives in the program. And that means there will be changes in some bylaws and universities to allow the opportunity for everybody to enter universities and learn at any age. There will also be programs in these universities that make it easy for requalification or improving qualification for those on the job or those who are moving jobs. So the rule that's he who graduated will only be allowed to enter university if he graduated less than 5 years, this is going to be changed, and then we will open the opportunity for the citizens to learn and join universities at any time, and also to develop their skills, even if they were working full-time. There will be changes in some bylaws and systems related to the continuity of education, either in terms of part-time job or any other solutions, to allow that employee to develop himself, upskill himself to reach to a better position or a better job. So the programs will be prepared, the bylaws will be accordingly changed, so that education becomes a lifelong choice. The programs will be provided by the private sector or by the government sector and the universities, the institutions, to guarantee the opportunity for those who are looking for a chance or looking for a short-term or a 1-year program or 2-year programs that meets their professional requirements or aspirations, to be able to join these programs and to graduate from these programs to fulfill their ambitions. So the learning journey starts from kindergarten and ends not only with graduation, there will also be programs for entrepreneurs, for employees. So if they needed at any time to move from employment to entrepreneurship, and then move from the from the government sector in order to start his own private project, this is going to be also made available. Thank you so much. I'm sure that everybody is speaking about the competitiveness of the citizens, but what about the competitiveness of the system in general? The system, will it achieve this? Will it be attractive to create an educational environment that attracts foreign students and educators to create this environment? Dr. Hamad? No doubt we focus on international competitiveness, which means there are key core goals and comparisons either in international tests or on other fronts. There's also a new governance system for the educational system from school to university. A new governance system that changes the offered programs to our sons and daughters, either in the specialization tracks in the various stages, and to start to prepare them early on in the skills or domains or specializations for which they have the inclinations or the skills, so that we can shorten their journey and prepare them in the shortest and fastest way to help them competitively enter the labor market or to universities, if that was the governance of universities will be different in terms of programs. There will be a harmony between what is required by the labor market through key performance indicators of any program or any plan, and the success of that program in employing the graduates fast enough and successfully, effectively in the required skills and the required jobs. All is going to be included in this governance for international competitiveness. This competitiveness is highly important. The program enhances the capabilities of the pioneering research universities to be internationally competitive. So if we, for example, look, we find that we have one city which is considered one of the best cities for a best city for education. We hope to have more than one city, so that the kingdom becomes an educational destination in the world for students from all countries to want to come and study here. The program also laid the foundations for an international diversification in these pioneering universities, so that the least, either in terms of researchers, the faculty members, or the students, is 5%. We need to increase our competitiveness in these universities and to attract the best to increase the competitiveness of these universities. Let me also mention that His Royal Highness the Crown Prince also defined and determined that there should be one university, which is King Saud University, that should become one of the top 10 universities in the world. And this requires development, restructuring, and we trust that they will be able to do that, and we are waiting for the 6 universities to join the ranking of the 200 universities by 2025, and probably more than 6 universities, but this is the minimum requirement, and also reaching to 9 universities by 2030, and to 2 universities to become one of the best 100 universities globally, and one to be one of the top 10 universities in the world, inshallah. So before we move to the questions of the floor, my last question to all our guests: what is the impact and your aspirations? I would like to start with Dr. Ahmed Al-Fahid, please. Thank you. I would like to quote His Royal Highness the Crown Prince when he said, "The most important feature is the youth potential. This human capability development is bearing in its attention the development of youth. Therefore, all our programs and initiatives are going to help build this quality and increase the participation and engagement in the training and vocational training programs and the employment, which will enhance, of course, our competitiveness of human capabilities in Saudi." Thank you. Dr. Khalid? No doubt, by launching this program, His Royal Highness the Crown Prince laid out the foundations of a new historical era in developing our human potential. The impact, God willing, will be great. The program is working based on clear vision, and in order to achieve a comprehensive change in our educational system, according to an integrated international initiative with partnership with the private sector to build a creative generation, internationally competitive. Dr. Bandar? Very simply, Vision 2030 is based on the diversification of the economy. And we cannot imagine this is going to be fulfilled through spending on infrastructure and changing systems. This is going to be requiring leadership, requiring youth to be working to ensure the sustainability of development and growth in the kingdom, so that we can fulfill the targets of Vision 2030 and beyond. Thank you, Mr. Engineer Ahmed. The impact of the program, which we expect on the labor market, is first that 80% of citizens have convenient employments within 12 months of their graduation. That means that everyone who graduates from education to be able to find employment that meets or that suits his qualification and skills and his track. It's a big challenge, of course, but we believe that the program, with the efforts and the support, of course, of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, we will be able to achieve that goal. The second goal, and the second indicator is, and the second impact, of course, that to enhance the Saudization in highly skilled jobs by 2030 to be no less than 40% of these highly skilled jobs, and to re-qualify and develop their potential to fill these positions with the best standards and the best performance. And consequently, I believe that if we don't achieve those two targets, then by achieving them, we believe that the program is going to fulfill its impact for our citizens who, and a citizen has the right to have the best education and the best labor market and the best employments and jobs. And this will be, God willing, be fulfilled with the support and coordination of efforts, and also the engagement of parents and families, the fathers and the mothers and our students. And this is not only the effort by some individual. Dr. Hamad? It's going to be big, because this program is based on the citizens. The target is the citizen, from early childhood to old age. It continues to, in the program, continues with its program and with its initiatives to find and build a citizen who is moderate, that shows belonging to the nation, to the homeland, to the leadership, and is passionate about learning, upskilling, and development in every stage of his life based on international standards, either in terms of international tests or another. aspects in order to enhance our indicators and rankings of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in the human resources capital with the World Bank, World Bank Human Capital Index, and the initiatives all lead towards that this citizen becomes competitive, passionate about learning all his life, looking always for the better, looking always for the best to serve the nation, to serve the country, to serve the kingdom and the leadership, and to positively participate in the building of this future. I am confident that this program is going to have the greater impact for change because it focuses on the high thinking skills, also on the social skills, the emotional intelligence. It prepares them also and qualifies them with the skills, the scientific and also the physical skills that enable them to become globally competitive anywhere, under any sky and any time. And now let me move to take some questions from the floor, please. Sulaiman Miman from Rotana Khalijia. My question to the governor of TVTC, Dr. Ahmed Al-Fahid. The program aims to enhance the registration in this education to be 33% by 2025. What are your plans in the future to achieve this target? Thank you, Sulaiman. I mentioned in my answers that when we set this target, we were looking globally and our economy and where we stand in the G20. Today, we have reached about 23%. About 5 years ago, we were less than 10%. Therefore, we are going to be able to achieve that. This is a quantitative goal which will be reached, and of course in collaboration with everyone. It is very important, my brother, that this is not the only key, that there has to be quality, there has to be innovation, there has to be participation, and this is what we are counting on in terms of our target, and that by the time they graduate from the school or university. We will work also through different models. We know that the market is not only have only one requirement or two requirements. There are certain requirements that are peculiar in one way or another. Therefore, there will be, in terms of strategic partnerships, we have about 40 strategic partnerships, which means that this college or institute is managed through a board by the private sector. And this is training that starts with employment, which not only ends with employment. Thank you. We have numerous questions, and I would like to ask our colleagues with the microphones to move a bit. Abdulaziz Al-Usayfer, the Marketing Consultancy Group. My question to Dr. Ahmed Al-Rajhi: how does the program re-skill those who don't have the upskilling with the requirements of the labor market? Thank you. Probably this is one of the important initiatives in the program, and I believe the incubators or accelerators that we are going to work on for all the learning outcomes that do not match the requirements of the labor market. And one more time, I would like to say that the key goal through the unity of studying supply and demand to avoid the chance for those to graduate with skills that are not required. And if it happened because of the dynamism of the market, then this incubator is going to will do the reskilling and upskilling so that they can, or this graduate can quickly join the labor market and not be left behind. We have previous experience where we see that if this program is enhanced and well supported, we are going to achieve our goals. Thank you so much. Mohammed Al-Bishi, Al-Sheikh. My question to Mr. Hamad Al-Sheikh, you spoke with passion about increasing the competitiveness of the educational system and university. What about opening the market for investment and international universities? Is there a plan to open our educational market for international universities and institutes? When will this be, and what will be a governance for applied? Thank you, Mr. Muhammad, for the question. Inshallah, there is going to be a lot of visible and tangible efforts in developing the bylaws and the governance to attract the international universities to our kingdom, and to be similar in terms of their programs to their mother colleges or institutions, therefore increasing the competition between the Saudi universities and the branches of these international universities. There is going to be also an enablement. We will enable these universities to offer competitive programs that are in harmony with the requirements of the labor market, and also fulfill the aspirations and needs of certain students, so that instead of traveling to a certain university, they will find the university here by opening branches for these. We want those who come to be the best. Therefore, we will work on this, and there's a plan with our stakeholders to develop that, including the specific bylaws. Also, in K-12 education, we also want to open the horizon for new tracks, for new educational journeys for our sons and daughters, and also for the residents' children to have different schools and be able to graduate to create a better international competitiveness. Thank you so much. Let me take a question from that side, please. Good evening. My question to the Ministry of Industry: what are the ministry's initiatives in developing and growing the human capability? Also, your contributions in developing the human capital. Thank you for the question. Our system at the ministry is working on two fronts. First, restructuring the sector and the human power there. The industrial sector can, over the past 40 years, maybe a great part of it depended on low unskilled labor, and we work through the strategy in our ministry to restructure this sector to become for the target industries to be dependent on high skills, offering opportunities for the 21st century skills that we do not have today. And this is going to create opportunities for our youth in the kingdom. On the other front, the work is going on since the separation of the Ministry of Industry. There's a 5-level partnership agreement with the Ministries of Labor, Education, the Chambers of Commerce to create new employment opportunities in the sector to about 36 employment opportunities. There's an initiative in the mining sector, which is a new sector, and probably our investment and the system of investment has been recently approved, which means there will be a greater potential for the sector to develop, but of course it needs to be included within the initiatives and the program of mining. There's a program for training and qualifying up to 1,400 Saudis in the sector, so that we can establish and build the foundations for development of a sector that is sustainable, that employs human potential that can be competitive. Also, the Industrial Fund, with its great experience in training and qualification, when it was restructured, and its plan was with the Midlib program. The fund established the Industrial Fund Academy that aims to develop and qualify the leadership in the sector, because the leadership in that sector is important, and it's also a little bit rare somehow. So these are the initiatives in a nutshell. The industrial and mining sector are working with the program closely. Thank you. Let's take some female voices and some of our sisters to take some questions. Ghada Al-Hudaytha, a student of architecture. My question to the TVTC governor. My question, at the academic level, we learn so many skills, but we do not fully master them because of limited time. As a student, how can I join programs that can prepare me to be ready for the labor market and to prepare me and focus on the working practice of these skills? Thank you so much. And I believe what you mentioned is what we are working towards, that there's going to be a number of diverse programs that meet the requirements of those who need training. At the same time, it will be these programs required by the labor market. So as you have mentioned, this is what we are trying to provide, and it will be available very shortly. Maybe we will start in certain regions immediately, because we have the companies and factories, and I would like to say that we are working in this program in line with other programs on mega projects. That in the program we have mega projects, the Red Sea project, the DIA, NEOM, all require human resources with quality skills. Therefore, it will be open to everyone. One question from our ladies here. Sarah Al-Rajhi, graduate of law. I would like to ask a question to the head of accreditation, Dr. Khalid Al-Sabti. You talked about skills of individuals. We are applying for jobs, for example, and the questions that we receive are, what will determine your skills, and how can I prove my skills while I'm applying for a job? Thank you for the question. It's a challenge that was identified when we were drawing the foundations of the program, and it is one of including the initiative of the National Framework of Skills in this program, through which we will be lay the foundations and definitions of skills that are known globally and determine the professions and the requirements of skills for professions in the beginning, and then we will create the KPIs and to measure the skills for individuals, and also what we call as the skills records, so that it becomes a part of your CV, which can be verified to determine the skills, either as a group of skills or more. So in terms of the employment, we will be able to assess the skills of individuals. It's a challenge, of course, but with the program we will be able to deal with it. Of course, the questions are numerous. I'm going to rely on my colleagues to send the microphone around the room. I am student Abdulaziz Al-Mohammed, a secondary school student. My question to the Ministry of Education, Your Excellency. As a student in high school, I always have thoughts and I feel hesitant about what to study at university. My question, Your Excellency, is it possible for the program to help me to identify my track and what I need to study? Thank you. My son, the program is there, and it has an initiative to guide you for studying at university and selecting your profession, and we are developing that together with the Ministry of Human Resources and social development in order to provide the proper advising to our sons and daughters. Also in the secondary tracks and after the common year, there's going to be a test for students, a standardized test that reveals to them their skills, their inclinations, so that they can select the best for themselves and identify whether this is whether they will be successful in technology and engineering, or whether they will be more successful in sciences and medicine, or in management. And all of this is going to be part of the skills that we will be, or that will be these will be the enablers, so to speak, to our students to identify their to determine their future, so that their educational journey is successful, that leads to fulfill their dreams in the fastest ways and in the most efficient methodologies and the best plans. There are many questions that came online, but we have reached the end of time. I would like to take one question from the first row. Let's take a question from the first row, please. I'm Hamad At-Tunisi. Thank you, Your Excellencies. You were very straightforward, and there's my son had a scholarship by Aramco, and my sister had a scholarship by SABIC. And I'm going to send them a letter. I want you to send them a message. What would you send them? I would like one of Your Excellencies to answer my question. Dr. Hamad? I didn't understand the question. Could you send a message to his son who was studying at Aramco? We have different means of selecting the students. No, I would like you to send a message about the Human Capability Development Program. So, if in a nutshell, what can you tell them about the program? Okay, we can tell them first, persevere. Yes, your son and daughter. Of course, your son and daughter. We say, work hard, persevere in your plan, which was given to you by the employer for you. And once you return back successfully, you will find, God willing, first, an integrated system of continuous learning, upskilling, reskilling, in a way that guarantees that you will be able to proceed in your professional life and succeed there through a well-supporting system in terms of universities, training centers, government or private, that will qualify you to reach advanced levels. You are more lucky than many of our generation who go without a promise. We hope that all the scholarship programs are based on an employment promise for our sons and daughters. Thank you so much. The program says, your capabilities is the future of our homeland. Let's send them this message. Thank you, Your Excellencies. Thank you, our dear guests, for participation. And thanks to our guests, and because the spirit of the program is the will and determination of the Saudi citizens, we would like to conclude this with a video from which we can draw the inspiration from the vision and the leadership from the His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, the godfather of the vision, so that we start and we end with the quotation that the Saudi citizen is our most important treasure. Thank you very much.
أي شيء من اللي حققناه.
لأن قدراتك مستقبلنا.
ألف شكر. شكرا.